Had a little laziness there.
Hopefully we're back.
Okay, so we got to see you.
So you're back. All right. Like I said, mobile internet, this is what happens. It cuts in and out.
Yeah, some days I just wish I could run a fiber into the window.
Another option that's come up is T-Mobile. Now, if you have a tablet, like an iPad or an Android device, they will sell you a little SIM card, which is a little tiny card that goes inside of LTE devices, and you can get 200 megabytes of LTE data and unlimited non-LTE data for free. And T-Mobile is a decent, respectable network. It works well in urban areas.
In urban areas, one tip on T-Mobile is don't rely on it for your maps while you're navigating because they have lots and lots of dead zones between cities, even on major freeways. So T-Mobile can make you crazy if you're waiting for it to route your navigation. So.
Right. So the MVNOs, or what does MVNO stand for?
Mobile Virtual Network Operators. They're people who have a brand name, but they don't own any cell towers. They're just leasing time on other people's network.
So our favorite is Millennicom, and they resell data on Verizon. You can get right now, it's a 20 gigabyte per month plan for $89.99 per month, no contract, no extra fees, and they just went up $20 a month.
Yes, it used to be an amazing deal. Now it's just a great deal. But Millennicom is still the best thing out there if you want to get bulk data for a MiFi type device. You buy 20 gigs at a time. You can buy multiple 20 gig buckets a month. So if you want 40 gigs, you can do that. If you want that much data, there's no other deal quite as good out there.
Right, not for mobile data.
And on Verizon's network, which is the biggest and broadest network.
There's another one, if you don't need 20 gigabytes per month and you don't want to go direct with the carrier, Straight Talk is now offering a hotspot, and that's Straight Talk is the one that you can buy at Walmart. And they've got a Verizon plan. It's 3G only. You're not going to get the super fast LTE speeds, which is sometimes a blessing because you use it less.
Don't use it as fast.
But you can buy it as you need it, and as little in buckets as little as 1 gigabyte to I think up to 5 gigabytes per month. And the cost is about $10 to $15 per gig. And it's a pretty good deal for those that just need enough to go on and check email.
Yeah, and particularly if it's bursty. If you only need it 1 month, but you're not going to need it the next because you're just the way your travels are working out, that's the way to go.
Millennicom used to offer a Sprint plan, and they lost that last year. There are currently 3 that we've tracked down that are offering the plan. There's a BMI Net, Wireless and Wi-Fi, and EVDO Depot USA. All offer variants of the plan. They're higher bandwidth, somewhere ranging from 30 gigabytes to 60 to up to.
Yeah, EVDO Depot has got a fully true unlimited plan on their. It's actually they're mostly their market is rural home users. It's on Sprint's older WiMAX network, $125 a month, and it might be worth checking out if you need unlimited data and you're in an area that has WiMAX, which is not a lot of areas, but if you're in an area that has that or plan to be a lot, you can actually go to town on all the data you want.
Right. So that's an option, and especially also for people that are living in rural areas that have good Sprint signal. Cellular boosters. Now, you're going to get some places where you might get maybe only 1 bar of signal, and there are ways to make that signal better.
A booster makes doesn't do magic. It doesn't pull signals out of nowhere, but it'll make a horrible signal bearable, and it'll make a bearable signal usable, is kind of what the best a booster can do.
Right. Unfortunately, the booster market right now is a little, we don't have any strong recommendations right now because the FCC just put into effect a whole bunch of new regulations that booster companies are having to meet with their new products, and those just went into effect on May 1st. Right. So there's only been 3 weeks. I believe Wilson's new mobile 4G 5-band booster is
now shipping. We haven't had a chance to test it yet.
We have not gotten one yet. They're kind of on back order.
Yep.
And there's several more that we're in the know of that are coming out. I think our neighbors are doing stuff out there. There's several more that are coming out. And I would honestly say if you don't need a booster right away, wait about 2 or 3 months and then check the reviews from a lot of people that are because a lot of us will be getting them and testing them, and you'll have a lot more data to go on to make the choice of what actually is working well.
And the main advantage of the new boosters is boosters, by boosting a signal, if you're in a place with a strong signal and you've got your booster turned on, it can cause a lot of interference. It actually can take down the cell tower for other people who are connected to it. And the old boosters were not particularly smart, so the FCC is stepping in for pretty good reasons and saying, hey, these boosters have to have the smarts in them. They'll automatically turn themselves off or dial down in places they're not needed, and they'll avoid interference, and they will try not to make the network worse for other people, just better for where they can do their job. So old boosters, you really legally can't buy them anymore, and the new ones, go
They're just starting to hit the market.
Yeah.
If you need one right away, the Wilson's always had a solid product.
Yeah, the Wilson Sleek 4G.
Oh well, then I'm talking about the 5-band booster.
But okay, and this has been a good one for a while. They now have a version of this that is a 5-band. We assume it'll be good. This is the Wilson Sleek 4GV, which is Verizon only. It only boosts one device at a time, so we stick our Wi-Fi in the slot right there and leave this in the closet, hooked up to an antenna on the roof, and that gives us a Wi-Fi signal for the rest of the bus. Really great combination, and this booster is really cheap.
It's like $130. Yeah. It's pretty affordable as far as boosters go.
Yes, there's other much more powerful ones, but that's a good basic way to go.
There's also antennas that you can get. They're more passive. They're not going to actually have power to them to boost the signal. Mm-hmm. But sometimes just height, just having the antenna on top of your roof mm-hmm. and getting away from the obstructions that your RV causes.
Particularly if your RV is made of metal, like ours is. Metal walls block signal, and so being inside a metal box is horrible for signal. Getting something on the roof makes all the difference in the world.
Right. So those are some options for now. So the antennas alone can be much more affordable, and they can help a little bit. Yeah. And we know people that's all they need. That's enough to help out. So like Chris said, a booster isn't going to do magic. It's not going to make nothing into something, but it can turn can make the situation better and at least get you online to get that email answered that you need.
Yes, and the places we recommend to get good tech support and advice and recommendations on boosters has been, in our experience, we've gotten good RVers have a great experience with PowerfulSignal.com and 3GStore.com.
Right. So if you have questions on them, and you can buy, we don't sell this stuff. We're not here to sell you this equipment. Right. We just report what we've learned in using and testing this out here. Okay, so another option for getting online is using public Wi-Fi spots. And
so like the campground we're in has 3 Wi-Fi hotspots scattered about. They're all basically unusable because there's so many people camped here.
Right. So that's one of the problems with you occasionally will come across an RV park that has done their Wi-Fi network just perfectly, and you can have a pretty reliable connection. It's fast. You can get online, and as long as too many people aren't streaming video, it'll work pretty well. Some parks, they invest in it. They know it's important. They know that's what RVers want and need.
And other parks spend their money on things like cable TV or swimming pools and all this other crazy stuff. It's like, give us Wi-Fi.
Right. It does cost a lot to put in a Wi-Fi network that can cover acres and acres of land and cover hundreds of RVers who are bandwidth hungry.
What some parks do is they invest in coverage, having signal reach everywhere in their park, but then they have it all going upstream via one basic little DSL line that, you've got now 100 people sharing basically one teeny tiny little pipe.
So basically if you take what you had in your sticks and bricks home and you try to share that with 200 people, you can see it's going to degrade pretty slowly.
And I wish there was a place to find RV parks like this one is great Wi-Fi, like certified, stamped. I don't want a good stamp park. I want a good Wi-Fi park.
And just keep in mind when you're reading some people do report it in their RV park reviews. If you get like RV Parking or RVParkReviews.com, some people do report how the Wi-Fi worked for them or didn't work for them. And you just have to remember what one person's good Wi-Fi isn't another's.
Right.
And when you are using park Wi-Fi, try to be a good, conscientious user. They're not put there unless the park says, "Hey, this is good for streaming video."
Say you're streaming for late at night.
Do it during non-peak hours. There's a lot of people online, and when someone is doing a high-def video over the park Wi-Fi, it's bringing it down for everybody else.
And if people are torrenting over park Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Right. But other places to get public Wi-Fi include cafes and restaurants, so Starbucks, Panera's, McDonald's.
I've spent days at libraries. Some days you just say, I'm going to have a commute day. I'm going to drive to the library and work all day and take advantage of great fast Wi-Fi.
And it's a great way. He gets out of the house, I get the house to myself.
Right.
And that's fun. I like that. I like kicking him out.
And it's good. It's good don't always think you have to do all your connectivity in your RV. You go someplace and take advantage of it.
Right. Hotel lobbies and airports sometimes offer it. Now, there are paid public Wi-Fi hotspots, and there are free ones. Things like TangoNet, you might see in some
campgrounds.
campgrounds.
Have Tango.
They might give you a pass for free, or they might give you you pay to access
a certain amount per day. And almost always we find that I actually don't think I've ever found a paid Wi-Fi connection that was worth paying for.
But we could be wrong.
Like,
We've had some really frustrating experiences too. And you don't find out until you paid for it.
Right, and that's the thing that makes it really crazy.
The downsides to using public Wi-Fi. Variable quality, just like we said. Just because there's Wi-Fi doesn't mean it's going to be fast. One trick that we do is when we go to a public Wi-Fi spot, so if we're sitting down, maybe going to a Panera or Starbucks or something like that, and we know we have a video to upload or OS updates to our devices.
Yeah. We'll do a speed test before we order dinner. It's like, a lot of times we go out and we're going to take advantage of Wi-Fi, but we need a signal, so we'll do a speed test. If the order doesn't work, if the speed test doesn't work, we don't order. We go to the next restaurant that has free Wi-Fi and see if they have fast signal.
Right. Public Wi-Fi may be a little less secure. A lot of people are afraid to do banking or logging in with things. Those really aren't as much of a concern.
Your banking is fine. It's when you're logging into forms and you're logging in with the same password that you use for your bank, that's when the eavesdropper can get you. They can't get you when you're going to things that have the HTTPS up in the top or the little padlock on your browser. The connection between your device and your bank is completely secure, short of the NSA getting involved.
Right. There's no such thing as completely secure. That's the first thing you have to understand with the Internet.
But you're just as secure as if you're on a wired connection or your own private connection. But you're connecting to a forum or just regular browsing that doesn't have that security, that stuff is completely free and clear. Anybody who's on the same network can listen in. And if you're using the same logins and passwords for those non-secure sites as you're using for secure sites, you're asking for trouble on a public network.
Right. And the other downside of Wi-Fi is the speeds. Even a cable connection coming in, most of them are slower now than LTE. That's kind of a cool thing that's happened since we've hit the road. Is now wireless data on cellular is faster than what most can be.
And then go late at night. That's when it works. Okay. So now, cellular boosting and Wi-Fi boosting are different things. We've had some people be confused. They think they get one booster and it's going to do both, and it's like, no, you boost them separately. But there are, just like there are cellular, well, actually often they're in the same frequencies, but the different boosting, there's different technologies. So Wi-Fi boosters are a separate device, and if you want to get something up on your roof that'll boost the Wi-Fi signal, that can actually work wonders for campground Wi-Fi in particular. Because if you think, way up at the campground office, way up yonder, there is a tower, a little, outside Wi-Fi antenna. And it's, probably, hopefully they invested in something big and powerful, and it's sitting up there yelling. It's like, hey, I'm up here. And then you go all the way back to where you're camped, you've got just your dinky iPad or a laptop, and it doesn't have a big antenna in it, and it doesn't have a powerful radio in it, so it's whispering back up to that tower way up there. And so when you have a Wi-Fi booster, what it really is a Wi-Fi hotspot sitting up on your roof with a more powerful radio and a bigger antenna, and it has a much better chance of talking up to the tower way up front.
It takes that whisper of an antenna from your device and makes it audible so that the other tower can actually hear it. So what are some of you can do just antennas that are out there. There's a lot of things online where you can just find an antenna. You can probably pick them up for sometimes $50, $100. You can build your own to increase your Wi-Fi range.
Most laptops don't have antenna ports anymore, so you've got to actually then have a separate Wi-Fi card with an antenna port that goes up to the roof.
Right. So one solution is these little gizmos are referred to as Wi-Fi as WAN. Wide Area Network?
Yeah. So, this is a Wi-Fi Ranger.
Right.
And one of the features of a Wi-Fi Ranger and some of the other routers that are catering to the RV market is that they can listen to one network out in the distance and then rebroadcast it as a local connection. So it has one connection upstream and then a private local network just for you, both wired, it's got wired ports there, or wireless inside your coach that is private just for you, and then one upstream connection that's doing the talking for you upstream.
The other thing is you can plug your MiFi device right into the router, and then you can control where this is getting its data from the public Wi-Fi. If it's working well, it can fail back to this if this is working better. And then all your devices that are connecting to it don't have to worry about switching between this and that.
You
and
don't
this.
have to go to all your phones and your light bulbs. Our light bulbs are on Wi-Fi. I'm assuming yours are probably too. But yeah, we have everything just talking to one router, and then we don't have to change the connections on our devices, our laptops, our iPads, or phones.
Right. So it simplifies it.
Easier.
There's other companies. Pepwave makes a similar device, and Cradlepoint makes one as well.
Yep.
I highly recommend if you go to Jack Mayer's website. He's linked to, if you look underneath the chat, he's linked down below. He has a great review comparing and contrasting the Wi-Fi Ranger to the Pepwave to the Cradlepoint, and which one works better.
Mm-hmm.
They're always changing this technology.
Mm-hmm. So again, just like any antenna, height is your friend. So you can have a Wi-Fi Ranger like that and just set it up in your coach, and it's going to have a better radio and a more powerful radio than your laptop will, very likely. But if you have something that is actually on the roof, so an external, they're much more expensive, but there's a Wi-Fi Ranger Mobile, or there's other things like that.
We use the Sky.
Yeah, we have a Wi-Fi Ranger Sky actually up on the roof. Those things make tons of difference getting that altitude.
Right, and this is also, it's a router, so you can also hook in things like printers and other devices. We have a Ethernet port that we use to connect in other stuff, right?
Yep, yeah, we've got everything hooked up to it.
Yep.
Satellite
is the third option.
Satellite used to be the gold standard for getting online as an RVer. You'd see the big fancy Class A's and Prevos and stuff with the Motosat antenna with the glowing blue satellite dish on top, and it's great. You can get online anywhere you go. That you can get a view of the southern sky, and even all the way up into the boonies and into Alaska and out in places that are so remote. But that was 10 years ago, and even 5 years ago.
So, the RVers that went way before us, that was how they get online. And they can get online in some amazing places, and you still can.
And we had a satellite dish for a while. The problem with the satellite dishes is, A, they're big and bulky and kind of initially expensive. The satellite experience is you're talking via a thing floating in space 26,000 miles away, so there's a lot of lag. So you say, hello, and then they hear, hello, wait, like not seconds later, but enough that anything interactive online is very painful, and they have pretty extreme data limits on how much you can use them. So there's all these downsides to satellite, and then as cellular rolled out all across the country, more and more places, even rural places, were in range of decent 3G or 4G cellular. So all the people who were using satellite started canceling their service, and the companies that were providing it ended up starting going out of business. So the people who are catering to the RVing market are all gone now. So if you want satellite internet, it's still available, but you've got to go now to the people who are catering to oil field installations and mobile command centers and all these things where the budget is a lot higher, the data caps are a lot lower, and for the most part, with a few exceptions, satellite just isn't practical for RVers anymore.
Well, some people, if you're going to be out of cell phone range often enough, it can still make sense to jump through those hoops to set it up. The equipment now can be purchased pretty quickly, cheaply.
Well, you can actually get it for free, because we couldn't even give our dish away when we decided we wanted to stop carrying it. You'll find people, if you go to the DataStorm users group, you'll find people offering up even robotic roof mount systems free. Just come get it off my rig. So if you want to play with satellite, you can get your equipment really cheap or free right now, and go to town out in the boonies.
Just make sure you're buying something from a former RVer or current RVer, so that you know that it is something that can be used across the country, that it's not spot beam technology, which is what HughesNet and stuff are now promoting.
Now, all the satellite services, to get more capacity for their rural customers and to get more speed, they've gone to, instead of one signal covering the entire country, they have lots and lots of little signals, which is great if you've got a satellite dish on your cabin out in the wood, out someplace, but your receiver is only tuned to that one transmitter, and that only covers about 100-mile range. So it doesn't work so well for an RVer. You drive out of that circle, you no longer have satellite service. So only the very old equipment supports the nationwide thing. In the HughesNet case, it's the HN7000S modem is the one to get. You can find them used on eBay. And all the new stuff is spot beam only, so you got to be very careful.
Right. You'll have to jump through the hoops pretty much yourself, or go to the DataStorm users
go to
to get
DataStorm
tips
user groups and figure
on
out how to use it.
And how to get it activated and what the costs are going to be. But in our opinion, satellite only makes sense for those that are going to be outside of cell phone range often enough.
Very often. And yeah, we talked already about the satellite downsides.
So we're getting to other options. So if you are going to be staying someplace for more than a month, it sometimes makes sense to seek out an RV park that offers cable hookups at site, because that means you can probably subscribe to cable internet. And sometimes having that unlimited hardwire coming in is just...
It's like heaven. And we discovered this. We had spent a couple of months in Florida last winter, and I guess the winter before last. And we realized, hey, but this is a park that supports long-term residents. And we called up the cable company, and it's like, no, there's no contract. There was no installation fee.
It was like $19 to install.
Trivial installation fee. And the guy was there the next afternoon.
Right, you
like,
just rent the equipment.
24 hours, we had cable modem installed and ridiculously fast bandwidth.
And unlimited.
Unlimited.
More
and we're like, why
unlimited.
didn't we do this the day we walked into this park?
Right.
Yeah, so if you're measuring your stay in months, look into it right when you get someplace.
Or if you've got a project coming up that you need to stop and be online for a lot, sometimes it's worthwhile to seek them out. So look for places that have seasonal spots, that offer seasonal spots, and maybe things that have 2 and 3 month specials. Look for mobile home parks, and just ask if they have cable running to the site.
And sometimes it's just a nice perk.
Yes. So that's one option. The other thing is entertainment on the road. Obviously, streaming video and content can be costly, or you need to keep an unlimited plan, which you can still do. But there's other ways to look at entertainment. We find we actually enjoy Redbox and Netflix discs.
No signal online is ever going to give you the experience of a high-res Blu-ray disc. So yeah, go out and rent one. It's $1.50.
$1.50 at Redbox.
And you're getting a Blu-ray has 50 gigs of data on it. So imagine how much that would have cost to download 50 gigs.
Yes. So you get really a high-quality experience. You're paying $1.50 a night for it, and then you return it to any Redbox the next day. So it's great for us in-transit travelers. Sometimes if we're just like overnighting at a Walmart, they usually have them there. That's kind of a treat after a long day of driving. Go in.
And one other thing to do, and this actually might involve a Walmart or might involve Amazon, is for TV series, we would buy the entire series when they come out in the box sets, buy the series, work our way through watching it. You never have a buffering, you never have a delay, you never have a problem starting the connection. Watch the entire series, and then we usually would give it to a friend or sometimes sell it again, and that's how we could watch a lot of great TV series in super high res.
Right. And if TV is really important to you,
there's unlimited streaming from space
called satellite TV. And a lot of RVs come with it already pre-installed, and you can get it as a second. You can even get a little one that goes out as like a box thing that you can put outside on the ground. Dish Gator, I think they're calling it.
Tailgater.
Tailgater. So satellite. If TV is important to you, and just because you're full-time RVing doesn't mean that you're camping or on vacation. It doesn't necessarily mean the same thing. You're still living life. There is no shame in watching TV programs. And there are some people who will say, oh, but you're in an RV, you're camping, just go outside and enjoy nature.
Yes. But you can watch the Nature Channel, so, why go outside?
There is no shame in watching entertainment. There's no shame in watching TV. Don't let anyone talk you into that.
Yeah, particularly if you're a full-timer.
Right. And there's also no shame in going out and enjoying nature too. So.
Particularly if you're full-timer.
So our arsenal.
We currently have, yes.
We do keep the Millennicom Verizon hotspot plan for $90 a month.
20 gigabytes, and that's our primary connection usually.
Right. We do keep a AT&T mobile share plan for our iPhones. We have
actually 15 gigs right now.
Yeah, we have the 15 gig plan. It's costing us. Like I said, we split it with parents and things like that. I think our costs are coming somewhere between $130 and $150 a month for that, and that's including
our voice phones
and
talk and text.
Right. Our iPad that we're broadcasting this on, we pay $30 a month for that unlimited plan. If we ever miss a payment on that, we lose it forever.
And if we ever wanted to cash in, or if you want one like this, you could find them on just the plans being sold for these iPads on eBay for $800-900.
Last time I checked, they're ranging between $700 and $900 just for the plan, and you still have to have your own iPad to transfer the plan onto.
Yeah, that's very handy.
So it is for us. It's this is what we watch TV on. We do a lot of streaming on.
This is our Netflix device. We hook this up to the TV with with HDMI out and watch.
Right. We also do keep Millennicom when they offered their iPad. This iPad we bought from Millennicom with their T-Mobile deal. So we do keep the 500 megabyte plan for $10 a month on it. So that gives us a backup source of data. Sometimes
and a chance to test T-Mobile. So that's
so we're testing that out. So what are we paying? So that's
we got Wi-Fi when we can get it, and a box of wine as part of our arsenal.
Yeah, so $210. I think about $260 a month is what we pay for our connectivity. And yeah, that sounds high, but I look at what we used to pay for connectivity when we lived in a sticks and bricks. And between having a cellular plan, a cable line run in, plus we all had a data plan because we traveled anyway.
Yeah, and the cable TV plans are ridiculous expensive. So this is cheap, and we're on the go.
And it's essential to us. For us, we couldn't be mobile if we didn't have connectivity. And just having we're versatile. Chris, if you scroll down at the bottom, about halfway down the page in the article section, there's an article that Chris did back in January when we were back in Cedar Key.
Yes.
And he compared Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and campground Wi-Fi, and he did speed tests all around the campground and just showed how variable it can be.
So for those of us who depend on connections, the more options you have, the better. If you can go weeks or months without good connections, well, fine, do it. That's great. The more you spend, the more options you have, and it's a good thing.
Right. So that's the content that we had prepared to update this chat. We welcome your questions and answers now. If you asked them before, I'm sorry, we have this, it's probably scrolled
down. The chat window is only that big.
So we're going to ask that anyone who would like to have questions answered by us to go ahead and retype them in now, or start typing them in now. We'll be happy to answer. We would like to keep them on mobile internet for right now, and after those run out, we can start integrating in some general ones too.
And we also have a special announcement too. We almost
that's
forgot
right.
that.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so those of you following along with our book and our second edition of the Mobile Internet Handbook campaign, well, we're announcing this very moment, we've got a special guest author who will be joining us doing a chapter on antennas and advanced installations. So Jack Mayer, who is one of the online authorities on this, is going to be doing that, and he's also going to be joining our online membership area as a contributor and moderator.
Right, so we're offering now a premium membership area where we're keeping on top of mobile internet news and reporting it and telling you how it affects us RVers. And Jack's going to be very graciously joining that and helping us answer questions. And he's also, he's going to have this special chapter in there.
So that's going to be the $6,000 stretch goal, is getting Jack's chapter added to the book, all about antennas and advanced installations. So cool. And we're very, very excited to be working with Jack on this.
Right. So do we have any questions here? You tried connectivity dispatch to load balancing multiple cellular sources.
So load balancing, for those of you who don't know, is if you've got multiple ways to connect, it's splitting your data needs over, like say you've got an AT&T thing and a Verizon thing. Some advanced routers can do load balancing. And there's actually some ways to do it with less advanced routers just by hacking around. It's a fun thing if you like to be a network administrator and play around with things like that, and or you've got very, very specific needs. For most people, it's probably way more complicated than you want to play with. I've played with it a little bit long time ago, and found it was more frustrating to try and get it to get a good benefit out of it than it was all the time spent in trying to tweak it. Can you do a Skype voice calls over satellite? You can over. That's the secret, is when you're doing a voice, anything voice over satellite, is don't talk over each other and say over at the end of the sentence, because that pause will have you just naturally talking on top of whoever you're trying to talk with. So you got to treat it more like, just broadcasting messages back and forth. Over.
Right. It can be done. We actually have done video chats on Skype.
Over satellite.
Over satellite. It was frustrating. It was grainy. It was... But it worked.
But it worked. And we're in the middle of nowhere doing a video chat. It's pretty awesome.
Someone here asked, I'm grandfathered in with Verizon data on my iPhone 5. I've also have a Verizon MiFi card with 3 gigabytes of data a month. If I pay full price, can I upgrade the card without losing my unlimited iPhone data? That's a question for Verizon. We have never been gifted with
we don't have a Verizon Unlimited plan. There are ways, if you be very careful when you go in and just find a Verizon guy who knows how to do it, but you can...
No, you don't go into the store to do it. That's the first tip. Don't do it.
Most stores are not so fluid.
It's the Howard Forums, I think it is.
Howard Forums.
Howard Forums. They track a lot of phone information, and there's a whole thread on there about keeping your unlimited data on Verizon. I would recommend following those instructions. We've not gone through it ourselves, so I don't have a lot of information to share on that.
I'm not sure we can find the link or the number for the Verizon guys that come to the RV shows. They're actually a Verizon dealer that does a bunch of the Midwest, but they also go to all the FMC RV shows. they say that they know how to work the system to keep your unlimited plans if you go through them. We just saw them present at the Escapade rally. And,
right.
Yeah.
Someone says for $60 a month, AT&T unlimited data. Also,
Fios.
What is Fios?
That's the AT&T fiber optic.
Okay, so that's not mobile.
That's what they can install. Yeah, so that'd be their equivalent of cable.
Okay. So what's the ballpark total monthly data usage you guys use as developers and somewhat heavy users?
I think, not counting this iPad, which we watch a lot of Netflix on, we probably go
I'd say
about
40.
30, 35.
Well, we have 35 between Millennicom and AT&T, and we usually are good by the end of the month with that.
Yeah, we try.
And one trick that we have is Millennicom cuts off on the first of the month. We have our AT&T set so that it rolls over like around the 25th, so that if we're running short on our Millennicom, we still have extra data left.
Right.
We have new data left on our AT&T. So watch where your cutoffs are.
Your plans overlap.
You have no control over the Millennicom. It's always going to be the first, but your other plans you might.
Yep.
And then we also use some campground Wi-Fi, and then we have big uploads with iOS stuff. I don't think we actually use probably about 50.
Oh, well, yeah. If you factor in, like, going out of the RV and going to use a library or going to find campground Wi-Fi, or sometimes you go over to a friend's house and knock on the door and say, hey, can I borrow a cup of bandwidth? I just want to sit on the couch for an hour.
Right.
That's great.
Okay. Someone asked, you mentioned what and who. I'm sorry, if you type in any URLs, are going to be censored.
And apparently I saw earlier that I guess some brand names are being censored, and I have no idea why that's happening. So some people were typing in carrier names, and they were being censored.
Right. So put spaces and stuff in there if you're going to ask a question about a brand name, I guess. How often do RV parks that you visit have cable running to the sites? We don't see it very often because we don't seek out those sorts of parks.
We like state parks, and they tend not to. Right,
and we like things that are more scenic.
But places that cater to long-term residents, and we have stayed at quite a few of them, very often have cable to their sites, and they're open to you having a new line run and stuff. Any place that caters to long-term residents is likely to have it.
Right, so you'll have to seek them out. We don't naturally find them because we don't naturally gravitate towards the sorts of parks that they offer us. So, let's see. You guys are awesome. Yes, thank you. We love hearing that. Thank you.
Yeah.
How can you tell how many gigs you use a month to plan for on the road? You're going to need to get some sort of data tracking software.
Well, yeah, you need to have a funnel that everything goes through. So
a router that tracks it. Or
the Wi-Fi Ranger does an okay job of tracking data. You've got to reset it every so often.
The PepWave tracking.
The PepWave has actually got much more advanced. Oh, I forgot to grab the PepWave to show you. But it's just another little router box. They have some pretty intelligent data usage tracking that will keep track of how much data you use on any various connection. If you're using it through the Pantech MiFi device, every night Verizon updates what's displayed on its screen, and so you can get a sense for what you're using through that. But if you're not on the road yet, it's still a little tricky. Some Netgear routers, actually, if you're not ones that are catering to mobile users, but some home routers, like Netgear one I was working on recently had a very nice monthly data total that it would give you. So keep an eye for that.
Right. Someone's asked, how much is 20 gigabytes? And they're saying how much is, how many days does that last at, say, 5 hours a day? So the thing to understand, data is not measured in hours.
Right.
It's measured in data usage. So 5 hours a day, are you just surfing webs?
So text, 20 gigabytes is like all the encyclopedias on Earth over and over and over again. I mean, text, that's nothing.
Now, 20 gigs is also maybe 10 high-res videos. 10 hours of high-res video.
Right.
What are you doing in those 5 hours is really what it comes down to.
And this is where it gets tricky with things like Netflix. Netflix and YouTube and stuff like that will try and, if you've got a fast connection, they'll give you a better quality picture automatically unless you try and override it. So if you're on a slow, crappy connection, an hour of Netflix might not look so good, and it might only use 400 or 500 megabytes. But if you've got a really fast LTE connection, a couple hours of Netflix might use 2 gigabytes. So it's kind of tricky to break it down into hours.
Right. Let's see. Any experience with bonding multiple 4G throughputs.
That was what he was talking about is load balancing is kind of the similar thing. Is you could bond as well, which is taking identical connections and just doubling your speed by having 2 or 3 identical connections. We don't need, usually, particularly if you're in a good area with 4G, you don't need more speed. In some cases, we wish you could throttle it down to less speed, because once you cross over 5 or 6 megabits of speed, that's enough to watch HD video. That's anything else, you're just risk burning through your data too quickly. You mentioned Powerful Signal. It's not Power and Signal. It's actually PowerfulSignal.com and 3GStore.com. Those are both places, and there's probably others that are really good, but those are both places we've had really good support and customer service.
And they know RVers.
And yeah, they know the needs of RVers. So those are good places to check for boosters and routers and such.
All right. Are there any other questions that are lingering on mobile internet? If not, feel free to also ask any questions about general nomadic lifestyle.
On the road, live with us, anything you want to know about our cat. Yes. Oh, well, wait. I've got one question for all of you. We've got to go back around to, is there things that you would like us to cover in the book? Not necessarily answer right now, but do you have wish lists? We're deep in the process of writing and researching the book, so just throw out stuff that you would, your dreams of what you'd like to see covered or done differently if you've read the first edition, etc., etc.
Do we see a new Wi-Fi Ranger on the horizon? We actually saw it on top of our bus last week.
Yes, we did. We got to, at the Escapade, we got to play with one of the Wi-Fi Ranger prototypes. They also were showing off the Wi-Fi Ranger Marine 2, which is up on their website. So that's kind of a sense for what they're playing with for the RV market. They just got to figure out things that people won't smash by running into trees and such. So yeah, they're constantly working on some new stuff, and I can't necessarily even comment on it, not because it's a secret, but because they're still changing it dramatically.
Mm-hmm. All right, please stop the complaining about the commercials. We have no control over it. There's nothing we can do about it. If you would like to avoid them, we recommend watching this as a archive later.
Yes.
So thank you. It's just cluttering up this small chat screen that we have. So we would appreciate if you could please.
We don't even know when a commercial's on, and and at some point we're thinking about experimenting with other ways to broadcast.
But our limitation is it has to be something we can do on our iPad.
Right.
And Google Hangouts and things like that, you cannot initiate a call a thing on the iPad.
Can you set up a VPN with the Ranger without it hoarding all the bandwidth? A VPN doesn't hoard bandwidth. A VPN, for those who don't know, is a virtual private network. It's a connection that you can set between your computer to a remote server that then has everything between you and that remote server is encrypted. There are VPN services that you can subscribe to. Some of them are fairly cheap, that if you just make your connection always go through that VPN, you are secure. Nobody can eavesdrop on you in a campground or anything else because all your data is going up to this remote server and then going out from there. So, yeah, VPN, good.
So, Kiki had a request. This is Kiki. Someone asked how we keep her from running away. This harness.
And she knows where her food is.
She only goes outside when she on a leash, and she's got a long leash that she can play outside on. And we go take her for walks, but mostly she stays inside and monitors her food to make sure no one steals it.
Somebody asked if there's 802.11ac on the new Ranger. 802.11ac is the brand new, not quite even finally ratified wireless standard. So there's been an evolution of 802.11b to G to N to, there's also A sitting off on the side. And so what comes after N is 802.11ac. It's very, very fast. It's great for hooking up HD TVs in a house to talk. I don't think the new Wi-Fi Ranger has 802.11ac. The new Marine that they're showing is a dual band system, so it speaks 802.11n on both 5 gigahertz and 2.5 gigahertz. I don't know exactly what they're going to bring to their future RV targeted devices, though.
We talk about the overseas.
Wait.
But Wi-Fi and internet connectivity overseas. I'll be spending a couple months in Europe. Wi-Fi. That's kind of outside the scope of...
Yeah, there's Wi-Fi all over Europe. The boosters that you have from the U.S. potentially might not be legal there. The frequencies are different. Wi-Fi devices automatically detect what country they're in and limit their frequencies to the ones for the country they're in. So seek out local knowledge if you're looking for boosters, but don't worry, the Wi-Fi that is on your laptop and stuff will work in Europe. It's just the boosters might be different.
Right, and if you're having a device, make sure you have a global device.
Yes.
Because they don't.
Yeah, cellular is very different.
Yeah, so don't like a Verizon device isn't necessarily going to work over there.
Right.
So you're going to want to get a
Get
SIM
something
card.
that is global and roams. Right. Any hardware for setting up a caching proxy to share common web assets amongst. Oh, that is a pretty interesting advanced technique. I have not looked into setting up a caching proxy in a long time. But so, for those who don't know, a caching proxy would be a connection that you have on a little server in your RV that, say, both of us are surfing the same website. It would only downloads it once. So if we're both surfing the same place on 2 different laptops, it's only downloading it once and then saving it on a hard drive in this local server and then caching it there. That's advanced Unix admin stuff. If anybody's ever wants to post some recommendations to simple tutorials to do that, great, but it's way above the heads of most of the audience here.
Yes.
Right. Roku versus Google Chromecast. I haven't used either one. Well, I've used a Roku a bit, and I know about the Chromecast, but I can't really comment on them.
Streaming video, not feasible for RV.
Those are not so good on the
not
phone.
Something that RVers really take too much concern with. We do have an Apple TV. That's what we use, but we don't really use it much because we can't do streaming.
Stream too much with it. Can I use a home cellular booster in my RV? And actually, a lot of the ones that we've been using in the past were home cellular boosters. The Wilson that we had in our prior rig was originally marketed as a home cellular booster. The catch with home boosters is a lot of times they are intended for a fixed install. So some of them you actually tune the strength once you do the install and they don't auto-adapt. So RVs are moving all the time, and some of the home boosters you have to reconfigure every time you get to a new spot. And also, sometimes you need to have the inside antenna and the outside antenna a substantial distance apart, perhaps 20 or 40 feet apart, which is not necessarily practical on our RV. So consult with some experts and be prepared to do some tweaking and playing around to take something designed for home and take it mobile.
Right, and the home ones aren't necessarily going to be powered by 12 volt. That's another downside.
Right, that's another catch.
And 12 volt is kind of important for power saving if you're planning to be not hooked up.
Right, you don't want to have to run your inverter just to have your booster come on.
But if you're not planning to do off-grid boondocking and things like that, that might not be a concern. Which one is the next one? Is it this VPN?
Yeah, my husband uses it.
Is that a question?
Oh, yeah, VPN will slow everything down. Okay, so the Ranger isn't the reason that the VPN isn't causing your slowdown with the VPN. Is the VPN is putting everything through your network connection all the way to this remote server and back and forth. So for a lot of interactive things, a VPN could add a lot of latency. It's kind of almost like using a satellite connection. And if you really want to know the world of internet pain, is try to use a VPN over satellite.
Oh my gosh.
Then you're just because everything is going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So VPN does add complications and delay and slows things down.
Someone asked, do we have a connection basics for dummies in the first book? It does. It depends upon how dummy you want it to be. The first book is written. We've had a lot of people who aren't high tech folks say that it was who loved it and thought it was really accessible.
But the first book kind of starts from a place of the difference between Wi-Fi and cellular.
So we're going to write that chapter in the new one.
So we're going to go back to even the basics of what is Wi-Fi and what is cellular, and that the new book is going to go even to super basics. But the first book does start with the basics.
Right. Someone says, other than a smartphone, what would be the basic must-have mobile equipment for someone just starting out? If it was that easy, we wouldn't have to write a book on this or have an hour-long video chat.
It depends what you need and what you want.
There's so many factors. One of the biggest chapter in the book that you can take away on it is trying to assess what your needs are. How important is internet for you? Are you going to be okay being out of touch for a few days, or do you need to be online all the time? How much bandwidth do you need? What are you trying to do online? One of the chapters in the book gives about 3 or 4 different sample scenarios of equipment to go and purchase and plans to have based upon your basic needs. It really comes down to assessing what you need and really thinking it through and setting your expectations to realistic and knowing what the trade-offs are. How much budget do you have versus how much do you need, and where are you willing to compromise?
Question about recent health emergencies. Everything okay? We are doing great. Yeah.
Well, kind of.
Yes.
Still dealing with it.
Yeah,
navigating healthcare in new places.
Navigating healthcare in new places, but then we're in good shape.
Someone says we're great. I like that.
Thanks. Yes, we we're doing this. Even though we do have a membership site now, and we're talking about a book that we hope some people will buy. We mostly just do this because we like to share what's worked for us. We like to share and give back to the RVing community. These chats are a fun thing for us and a gift for us, and we hope they're appreciated. And we love when we hear it.
We love when we hear it, and we do this mostly for fun, and we like to share. And we're experimenting with ways to make it so that that also at least pays some basic expenses, so we can spend the time to keep doing it.
Right.
So yes, if you feel so inclined, we are running the Indiegogo campaign. There's a contribute button on the page and all over our website. We're pre-selling copies of the new book, and you do get a code for a free copy of the current edition, which is only slightly outdated.
Yeah, so the campaign it's a pre-sale campaign. So if you buy the new book, you get the old book, and then there's all these levels of perks, including access to the membership site or hour-long consulting calls if you want to go over your
45 minutes.
45 minute long. They often go an hour.
We don't watch the clock.
Yeah, but if you want to have somebody, you want to pick our brain about your own needs and mobile situation, we sometimes get really long emails from people, and we just can't answer everybody's personal questions one-on-one. So that's why we started the consulting calls. We try to answer as many as we can, but it's there's that, and all the way up to we'll send you a postcard from the road is one of the other perks on the Indiegogo campaign. So go check it out and just see if it
if pre-funding campaigns is not for you, that's a-okay. We hold nothing against you, but we do at the bottom of this page, we do have an email list that you can sign up for, where you'll get an announcement when the book is ready, and if you can purchase it when it's actually ready, if it's something that you need. Mm-hmm. We really appreciate your support in helping make this happen. It's a lot of fun for us. Mm-hmm. And
I think we see one final question
we've got one
here.
more question.
If you buy someone's unlimited AT&T plan on eBay, are they just providing the chip to you?
Actually, it's the account that's transferring to your chip. So you want to make sure you're dealing with a reputable seller.
And so what they're going to do is they're going to call and authorize you to take over ownership of their account. And this is the same way you assume a Verizon Unlimited plan or something like this. They authorize the transfer, then you call and say, hey, I want to assume responsibility for this account. You both do a little bit of jumping through hoops on the phone, and then that account is now in your name instead of their name. And if you have a SIM card, they'll activate it on the SIM card. You might have to go to an AT&T store and pay $10 to get a SIM card to put that account onto.
Any suggestions for a map app for U.S.-Canada travel? What kind of map app? You're talking about navigation, RV parks, cellular coverage. I need a little more information on that. Any other questions? Go ahead and view them out. I think we've got a few more minutes that we can stay on.
Yeah, it's actually,
Have we gone over an hour?
It's over an hour.
Oh.
That's it. So this has been an extra long chat. I hope this was good. I hope the video quality seems to have stayed up and pretty good. And
it says I've got an Android Moto X with wireless.
Oh, through Public Wireless, and I'm curious if you think they will catch me if I'm just checking email using Easy Tether through my phone.
Like I said,
they probably won't catch you. But it's just be on guard and don't abuse it. So yeah, if you're just occasionally checking email and you're doing a hacky way to tether, very few people report having had the nastygram emails and.
It's just though it's possible. It's in the terms of service. Right. If they catch you, they could. We have not heard a lot of. I don't think I've heard of anyone getting caught, but doesn't mean that it can't happen.
Right.
Okay.
And I think we're going to wrap it. Do you game at all? PS3, Xbox, etc. The gaming rarely and always local, not streaming wise.
Yeah, we do wish Millennicom. Someone commented that Millennicom should give us a commission. They don't. They don't have an affiliate program. We're not affiliated with them in any way. It would be nice.
They give us an inside scoop on their new stuff, which is nice. But I think their costs are so cut to the bone that they don't have overhead and things like that. It would be nice though.
It would be nice. Someone asked, are you going to tour any RV factories?
I hope to go to the RV Hall of Fame, because that'll be awesome. But I'm not really into the RV factory tours.
We've done some. Yeah.
Well,
So
thank
we're gonna say good night.
We're going to leave this go now, and so thank you very much. We'll stay tuned for the next video chat when this comes, and look for the full archived commercial-free version to be going up on YouTube shortly. So thank you.
Thank you. Good night.